Hello everyone, welcome back to our video. We are at Devonport on the other side of the river from Auckland City. Here there's actually a bus ferry interchange, which doesn't exist in Perth obviously. This is like a transfer station, the main point for buses to wait. You can see 3 buses waiting here on different local routes, some very short ones doing loops into the suburbs. Oh, what, it's not in here yet. Oh, there it is. But we're going to be taking an Auckland Ferry today. This will probably be the only one I'm going on since I'm leaving tomorrow. Auckland City is right over there. It's only a 10-minute ferry trip over to the downtown ferry port, but it's almost a 30-minute drive because you have to go all the way around since there's only one bridge to access the northern suburbs. So that's what the ferries do. They provide connections between places which it's longer to drive between, as well as straight across rivers. There's even the ferry I talked about in one of the train videos that goes, or the bus video, that goes all the way from downtown to the northern peninsula, which is like completely out of Auckland City already, taking 50 minutes, but that's still faster than driving when the freeway's packed in peak hour, and faster than the car. I mean, faster than the bus on the Northern Expressway and then a local bus. It's faster, so people would actually use that. That's only a few times a day. I wanted to take that one, but it was a bit too late to stay up there for like 4 hours just to take it. So instead we've come down here to Devonport. We're gonna take a bit of a shorter service. But I'm really impressed with the ferry system. Look how big this ferry is, how grand it is. So much better than the Transport ferry, even though this is only still a 10-minute trip. It's the same amount of time, pretty much, as the Transport ferry, but it's so much of a bigger vessel and more comfortable for this short commuter route. So this one is half-hourly throughout the day, even in peak hours, but there's a lot of routes, so that's why, not just one like in Perth. There's so many routes, even to a place called Bayswater, which is nearby. Here's the Devonport Wharf. There's actually a whole waiting room and cafe in here and toilets, and you can even queue for the ferry here. Pier 1, Pier 2, they have 2 piers, viewing platform, and the timetable up there. They're all just downtown every 30 minutes, as you can see. We're going to take the 6:45. It's a little bit late though, as you can see. It's already 6:46. You can top up your card. Everything's here pretty much. Tag on. So we're going to tag on to the ferry service. We are out on the viewing platform, Auckland City right there. Here's the vessel, such a big thing for this short trip, operated by Fuller's 360. There's about 4 or 5 different ferry operators. Some of them are much more expensive though. Each ferry has a different fare price scheme. It's not based on the zones, it's separate to the buses and trains, but you can still pay with your AT-HOP card or AT-HOP. But yeah, each one has a different price. This one is $5.80 for an adult to the city. We are on board the ferry. There's like a ton of toilets at the back, so much seating, a cafe in the middle, a cafe on the ferry. Like, do you know how good this is? So much seating and tables. And then let's go upstairs. This is the upstairs area, and you can go outside at the back and enjoy the views. Off we go. Here we go, we're reversing all the way out. There's Auckland City. It's so good. You can literally sit up outside here and get the best views over the bay. We're doing a full turn reverse. I love a like proper commuter ferry network. It's so good. And there's actually commuters using it. There were so many people who just came across the river here to Devonport because it's so much faster than driving in buses. There it is. Departed. Now let's go inside.
Kia ora. Welcome aboard this Fullest 360 sailing. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and await instructions from the crew. Life jackets are carried for everyone on board. Should they be required, our crew are on hand to assist. We operate a no smoking policy on board. This includes the use of electronic and vape devices. It is our priority to keep you safe while on board with Fullest 360. Our crew are on hand if you need any assistance. Have a great trip. Kia ora. Fullest 360.
This is so good. You can sit up here and look down at the water. It's actually so cool. This is super long announcement for literally a 10-minute journey. Some journeys are much longer, but this one is so short. Great views of Auckland City as we traverse the river here. I wish I could have taken a longer ferry trip. And it's so funny, the 50-minute one to the Northern Peninsula is only $11 and then this is 6. It's like barely any more, even though it's like 5 times longer. 6 times even. I absolutely love ferries if there's like a full network like this. Perth is like literally nothing. It's very noisy. You probably didn't even hear what I said. I just said, yeah, I love the ferries if it's a proper system. Anyway, I'm not going to talk because it's too windy, but just enjoy the views. And the funny thing is they don't even check your tickets like at all, just like on the train basically. So they don't even know if you tagged on or not, and no one's checking. So I guess you could just go on for free, but obviously don't do that. But literally no one checked. You can just walk on since the tag machines are on the outside. Since these ferries are by a private company, it's just like hired in by the government to operate. Just like Swan Path and Transdev for buses in Perth. Right, it's getting really windy. I'm gonna go back inside. It's much nicer in here. Now the downtown ferry terminal is located right next to Britomart, the central train station as well, on the edge of the city, since the water is all the way up here. There's about 12, 13, 15 or so different routes. I don't know exactly how many, but there's so many different places you can go to. Plus they then have service patterns, either express or stopping at other stations, or wharfs along the way, whatever you want to say. And then there's some much more expensive services which you can't use your AT hop card on, which go out into like the islands which are completely inaccessible by other modes of transport, such as one of the dormant volcanoes, with nothing on them except walking trails slightly out of the city, but that one's super expensive. It's like $60 for an adult, and that's cash only. You can't use the AT card, or you can use card, I think, like normal credit card or online, but you can't use the smart card because it's not really, that's a like fully private service operated by this private company, not the government subsidized ones. And as you can see, some of the ferries over there, there's about 6, 7 right now here in downtown, in the downtown ferry port. And such good facilities just at that little Devonport area. And that's just one little bay. There's so many ferries here. Actually, since no one checks, that means you could just keep on going up and down on the ferries until you leave the system, and if someone did check you, then it still says you tag on. I didn't even realize that. That's actually so cool. Maybe I can take a ferry back across to Bayswater then. No, but I also need to film the Western Busway tonight before nightfall, because I'm leaving tomorrow. Yeah, look, if you look around the bay, you just see ferries operating everywhere. There's one over there right behind it, another one over there. There's so many, and all the ones operated by Fuller's 360, which is the majority of them, are these big double-story ones, which is so good. Actually, there's actually different varieties. This one you can see is a much smaller upper deck compared to that one over there. And there's so many wharfs here, about 15 or so different wharfs all around this quay here where they can dock at. Really loud horn as we enter the city. But how does no one check your tickets? What the hell? Now I can just walk off. I mean, I know it's the same on trains, but that feels a lot more wrong on ferries. You can just walk on. Like every ferry I've ever been on, they check you. Oh yeah, we are docking on this side. I thought we're going to the other side and I'll have to walk all the way around, but no. I'm going right over here. Must be really hard to maneuver these big boats in these small spaces though. So yeah, we arrived about 3 minutes late because we left 3 minutes late, but otherwise it took the correct amount of time, 12 minutes already. That's pretty fast. And we're already across the water. If you drive, you have to drive 10 minutes north, 5 minutes west, and then go down the freeway and the bridge crossing and then back into the city. So altogether it's like 25 minutes at least to get over here to the central part of the city. I really wish Perth had something like this, but I know it's much more infeasible because there's so many bridge crossings and not that many places where water reaches. So it just makes them not that useful. Okay, we've docked up now. People are getting off. Such a short trip. There's much longer ones, as I said. Some are even more than an hour. Even an hour and a half I found one of the services to be. Let's get off. Here's the cafe menu. We arrived at the downtown port. That's literally the name, it says downtown. That's quite American, but what else should they call it? There's a much bigger service going out. That's probably one of the longer trips. That was Wharf 5. Here we tag off now. Now here this guy's actually watching. Okay, so they do check you upon arrival into the city, but nowhere else. So if you don't go to the city, you can probably do it for free. No, it was 522 actually, not 580. I must have read it wrong. But still, that's quite an expensive trip there, and I don't think it counts as part of the... Because if you go on buses and trains, once you make one trip, you can make as many as you want for 4 hours, as long as you tag onto the next service within 30 minutes of the previous one, and you stay in the same zones you stayed in during your first trip, otherwise it charges you more. But I don't think that works here, even though we just visited 2 zones. Probably didn't work. Here it says alternative transport options, buses and trains for when there's no ferries. There's some old tram tracks here as well, obviously completely out of use with all the benches in it. Although it's quite ugly, like this building is so ugly. It's this white box and it just drops you off in this random like concrete industrial area, although at least you have direct access into the city. It's just a really short walk, and you have all the buses, including the Northern Expressway ones if you came from somewhere not from the north, and all the trains. You can see the sign here. Plus you can go around to the other piers. Here it's only 4 and 5. I mean 4 to 9. Yeah, here we are. This is the central place where you can see all the departures. Look how many services. Gulf Harbour, yes, that's the 50-minute one to the north I was talking about, departing in 10 minutes. So many services. Yeah, there's security here. Okay, if you come to the city, you're not getting away with it, but in other places you can. Here we go, Auckland Ferry network. So you can go to Devonport, that's the one we just took. And there's Bayswater right next to it. Then there's Birkenhead with a stop there. Hobinson Point in Beach Haven. West Harbour. Half Moon Bay, Pine Harbour, Kennedy Port. This is actually a vehicle ferry to get to that island, since there's roads and people living on it, but you can't get there by road. Rakino Island. There's one here to Rakitano Island as well, but as I said, that's the private one, so it's not on the map because it's not government subsidized, and the longest government subsidized one is that one to Gulf Harbour. But there are longer services, sometimes with stopping patterns on the more private services, which take even longer, but it's the same vessels. Here's the map as well, all the piers. And they even have all the timetables here. Alright, thanks for watching this video. We're now back in the Auckland CBD. I've only got one more major transport thing to film, which is, bruh, ferry replacement stuff. That's so trash. Imagine how long a bus would take. Which is the Western Express busway. I did the Northern Express this like earlier in the afternoon. And now, just before sunset, I'm going to be doing the Western Express busway, which is a little shorter. But first I have to even find the stop. I don't really... Oh, what? Oh, we're right here at Britomart. Oh, bruh, it's right here. I didn't even realize. I've come out of Britomart here several times and I never realized just to the right here is actually the downtown ferry terminal. That's so well connected. And then Britomart bus station is just down the street as well. So good. This central part of the city has such good transport for Auckland. I really love it. Okay. Bye.